my ex-boyfriend gave me 2 STDs that ended up making me so sick. I ended up in the hospital. I ended up needing a wheelchair. I ended up with a permanent heart arrhythmia. And a year later, I am still not fully recovered.
This woman shared a short story time of how her boyfriend almost unalived her by infecting her with 2 deadly STI. Man, let's watch these videos together.
I'm actually really glad that you asked, because the reason I shared my story is my goal is to protect other women from having this happen to them. So if you have any questions, you're welcome to drop them in the comments, as long as you're respectful. I'm happy to answer anything. Trigger warning, we're going to talk about STDs, we're going to talk about sex, and we're going to be talking about vaginas. So my ex-boyfriend gave me 2 STDs that ended up making me so sick. I ended up in the hospital. I ended up needing a wheelchair. I ended up with a permanent heart arrhythmia. And a year later, I am still not fully recovered. So the 2 STDs that he gave me were chlamydia and MGen, Mycoplasma genitalium. MGen is not on standard STD panels in the US. It was on the STD panel that he had in Australia, which is how we know that that's what he gave me. He had the STD screening before he ever came and had sex with me, which is also how we know that he knowingly gave me these STDs. I actually pushed him to have the STD screening. I think I asked him like at least 10 times, but I have 5 text messages to prove that I asked him and to prove that he told me he was tested. So he went and got tested and then still lied to me that he was clean and gave me STDs. Now let's break down the timeline. So April of 2023, he came and we had sex for the first time. That would be when I actually transmitted the diseases. He went back to Australia, which is where he's from. We were in a long distance relationship. I started getting sick almost immediately. I have text messages between me and my ex saying like, I don't know, I just don't feel right. I feel really dizzy. I can't quite place it. I feel like malaise. Like I just feel not right, not good, not energetic. I felt lethargic, but I couldn't really place it. I also started having like random sharp abdominal pain very intermittently, but I have endometrioma, so I kind of just wrote it off as endometrioma. I did see a doctor in this period, and no one thought to STD test me because I was in a monogamous relationship. It wasn't until 2 months later, when I flew to Australia to meet his family, the first night that I landed, we had sex, and it felt like I was being ripped open by glass. Like it legitimately felt like glass was clawing its way out of my stomach. I also started bleeding quite profusely. I writhed around in pain for the entire night, and the next morning he took me to see his family doctor, who did not at any point think to do an STD screening. She wrote it off as period pain, which is insane. Once we knew that he had in fact given me chlamydia and MGen, they put me on a course of antibiotics. However, because this infection had been running rampant in my body for over 2 months, my body just couldn't fight it up. The antibiotics just weren't enough. So for the next 3 weeks, I was living in my ex's house with his family, meeting his whole family, knowing that he's just given me 2 STDs, being gaslit by him and his entire family that it's really not a big deal. It's literally just like an antibiotic and like, you'll be fine. It's fine. It's no big deal. And that whole 3 weeks, I was getting sicker. I think I lost like 10 pounds. I couldn't eat. I was throwing up constantly. I was so sick. I literally just spent my nights like in the toilet. Like I was so sick. On my flight back to the US, at some point, I started struggling to breathe and I passed out, and I woke up in the rear of the plane with an IV, a doctor and a nurse around me, and the flight staff. No one at that time knew what was going on. I didn't either, because I thought the antibiotics were doing their job. Now, of course, we know it's because my body was failing to fight off this infection. When I got back to the US, my mom, who is an ER doctor, was like, at this time, we're going to take you to the ER, which like, if you have an ER doctor or parent, you know that like ER doctor parents do not take you to the ER. They're like, you could have a bone sticking out of your arm and they'll be like, you're fine. My mom was like, no, we're going to the ER now. So my mom took me to the ER. They immediately admitted me to the hospital because the infection was so significant in my uterus. I was put on IV antibiotics and like other support. I don't remember a lot from that first night. I know that like, I think I crashed a couple of times. I remember my heart monitor going crazy and then like teams of people rushing in. And then this one nurse like looking at me and being like, you're doing so great, sweetie. Just look right at me. You're doing great. It was terrifying. It was very scary. It was horrible. By the time I finished all of the rounds of antibiotics, I think I'd been on antibiotics for 4 months. It devastated my body. It absolutely devastated my body. I was also told that I would be likely infertile because of this infection, of course. If you take anything from this video, it is no matter the status of your relationship, if you are sexually active, you should be getting tested every 3 to 6 months. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you're in the most committed, loving relationship of your entire life. For your own health, get tested every 3 to 6 months. The goal is to protect other women from having this happen to them. My ex-boyfriend gave me 2 STDs that ended up making me so sick. I ended up in the hospital. I ended up needing a wheelchair. I ended up with a permanent heart arrhythmia. And a year later, I am still not fully recovered.
Wow. Thank you so much to this creator for being so open and vulnerable about your situation. Go back and watch her video so you can get the full picture, but long story short, her boyfriend knowingly infected her with 2 STIs that had a horrific, tremendous impact on her health. I want to use this to talk about something else. Cheating is abuse. I don't know whether or not her boyfriend cheated on her as he already had the STIs when he knowingly gave them to her. And if you'll lie, you will cheat. But the point is, a lot of people think it is just HIV that is deadly, or maybe HPV that might develop into cancer. But these bacterial STIs can be just as dangerous. As she says, she went untreated for so long because obviously she didn't know she had them. And by the time they got her on antibiotics, it was basically too late. This infection had been running rampant in her womb for months unchecked. And she, because of that, experienced very, very severe health consequences. Men are very often asymptomatic. They're not going to know they have something, or they're going to have it and not care because it's not impacting their body in the same way. We are more of an open system. As she said, once it got in there, it could touch everything because it's all just right there. And those are organs for us, guys. Your uterus, your fallopian tubes, your ovaries, those are organs. And not to be graphic, but if one of your organs starts to die inside of you, there's a good chance that you are not going to be here. If you don't get medical treatment for that, if you don't get help because you don't know that you need any, you can leave here off of that. The XYs are not to be trusted, okay? They have proven it over and over. Please take heed. Do not trust them. Because I promise you, I don't care if I get married and I'm married for 50 years. There will be a condom every time. Yes, getting tested is key. I believe in getting tested every 3 to 6 months, no matter what your marital status or relationship status is. But testing is after the fact. Testing is for preventing permanent issues, for preventing, paralysis and being unalived. Issues with your brain in the case of syphilis. But testing is not prevention. Prevention is prevention. So it's great to go get tested with new partners and whatnot, but I tell you, go to the doctor. Do not trust men's results. I don't believe in even my chart and whatnot. Go sit in the office with them. Watch the blood come out of their arm. And as she said, make sure they do a full panel because the secondary infection, she said they don't even test for that here in the U.S. Only because her boyfriend got tested in Australia did she even find out what it was he was infected with. I've actually never even heard of that one. But apparently it's quite serious. So go sit in the doctor's office with your husband or boyfriend. Wait for the doctor to hand him the results. When they get the results, you all need to open them together. I don't trust most of these men as far as you can throw them. And no matter what that thing says, unless you are actively trying to make a child, and even then you need to be extra careful. You need to be, using condoms. You need to be using protection. This is your life. And as I said, it's not what we've been led to believe. It's not just a couple of STIs that can take you out. There are a bunch. And that's if you're healthy. A lot of these, if you already have compromised health, it's not going to take much. You have to enforce this for your own health because men do not care. They will knowingly infect you. Some men, even they say, get off on this kind of thing. I've, read stories about men who deliberately went out there sleeping with S workers and whatnot, trying to get infected to harm pregnant women, their wives, or women who had other compromising health situations, women who already had low immunity because of something else. They're sick. They have problems. And you're like, if it's all that, I'm not even going to be in a relationship. That's the wise choice. Never heard of anyone getting infected by using their rose. But seriously, all jokes aside, you all have a fantasy. And it's because everything we've ever been fed as women is propaganda. The romance novels, the rom-coms, everything that we're ever given to consume is there to warp your mind and make you think the relationship is your missing piece. Is going to make you feel like this. What we're talking about on here is the reality. Tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of women have been infected with diseases and experienced adverse health consequences, including death. That's real. How many women have lived happily ever after? I'll wait. And I know it's hard to reconcile this. I know it's hard to put it together in your mind that everything that we've ever been told is false, but that's the truth. And the sooner that we can absorb it and live by it, the better off we'll be. Because the longer there's this period of denial or anger or bargaining, you're going through those 5 stages of grief trying to get to the outcome of acceptance, the longer you spend in those stages, the more you're exposed to danger. Because the more you're looking for a unicorn, well, I'll do this and I'll do that, I'll do this and I'll do that for a good man, and maybe if I do this, maybe if I do that, I can find what. The longer you stay in those mind frames, the more likely it is you are going to come to harm. If there's an exception, you don't have to go looking for it. It'll find you, okay? But in the meantime, you need to do what you need to do to make sure you're safe and protected at all times. And that means taking the scales off your eyes and realizing most of these guys do not mean you any good. That's it. Like and follow for more.
The amount of women that have been infected by diseases through their boyfriend, husband, these men will confidently, most of the time they know that they have problem, but they don't care. Most of the time they even want to do it with you so that they can infect you as well. Intentionally, they will do it because they know that they are not all right. Instead of them to get treated or avoid you or protect themselves, if at all, or even tell you that this is what they are going through and all of that, they will do it with you. I feel like trusting men 100 by allowing them to go raw inside of you is a lot because these men cannot be trusted. You can only trust yourself. You know that okay, you only have one special partner. These men have a lot. They can have a lot and you don't know, and they're going to swear and lie. In fact, there was a video that I saw. The woman said she has her husband's location. She can unlock her husband's phone. She has everything, that there was no suspects of a man cheating on her at all. You know, when they say, oh, check his phone, there's something that she can check his phone. She wrote his messages. He sends location. They track each other's location, like that. But he was still cheating on her. So even if you think you are with your man 24 hours, 7 days a week, every single day, every single minute, every single second, this man will always find a way to cheat on you if they want to cheat on you. And most of the time, they will do it without thinking. Most women that have infection or they are infected are married women. Married women that are just in their house taking care of children, stay at home married women that are not even cheating on their husband. Though. The man will go out there, cheat or sleep with different women, and come back home and infect their wives with infection, diseases, and all of that. And she'll start treating back to back, and she'll be wondering what is going on with her system. Look at the way the infection started. It didn't even start like infection. It's not like she was itching down there or it was smelling. She was sick. She was seriously sick. It was as if it was something else that was happening. Just imagine probably she was treating something else without even doing proper test of the thing. She wouldn't even know. And the thing will be eating her up like that. This is scary, you guys. What is your take on this video? Can you share your thoughts about this video down in the comment section? Respectfully, as always, your girl Mara Davis, and thank you so much for tuning in today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Please like and share and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one.